so I can remember her holding that part down, and I just remembered that was like tearing me up, literally. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about my crazy birth story. Now, I shouldn't even say crazy because it's not that crazy, but it's crazy, okay? So we're just going to get to the point. I didn't even know I was pregnant during this summer. This was the summer when Billy's was popping. This was the summer when I was fresh to being like able to go to the clubs, because I wasn't 21 yet, but I was 20. It was Aaron and I's anniversary, and he ended up like taking a picture, and I looked at the picture and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm glowing. You know when people say like you're glowing because you're pregnant? I literally felt that intuition like instantly looking at the picture. And then that same night, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, wow, like my stomach just feels different. Like, you know, I'm like, my nipples are sore. Like, what is going on, you know? Boom. I go to Target and I'm like, I told my sister, I said, we have to go to Target, you know, because like I have to get a pregnancy test. Couldn't even wait to take it. So I went into the bathroom at Target and took it there. And it said positive. Fast forward, so I found out, that's how I found out. And then Aaron and I ended up moving to Mount Pleasant, which our doctor was in Grand Rapids. So it was about a 45-minute drive, I want to say. 45 minutes to an hour drive to our appointments. So I was supposed to be due, and I was supposed to be due on January 13th. So at this time, it's December. And I told, you know, my mom, I'm going to come and stay with you for some time because I don't want to accidentally go into labor early, because my doctor kept saying over and over, oh my goodness, like you're so big, you're going to give birth sooner than we think. So, you know, just to get me prepared at the time, I was like, okay, I'm going to definitely move with my mom until then, because Aaron was working out in Mount Pleasant. And that's where our life was at the time. So I moved in with my mom probably December something. No, right after Christmas, I went over to my mom's house. I stayed over there, and then I was having doctor's appointments back to back because I was like feeling like I was having contractions. I felt like I couldn't feel Asen moving. I was just being a panic wreck at this point. But who wouldn't? It's your first pregnancy. You just had no idea what was going on. So I just wanted to be safe rather than be sorry. I ended up going to the doctor's on January 8th, and my doctor was like, okay, at this time you're like stretching so far out. During my pregnancy, Asen was up in my rib, and he fractured the bottom half of my rib. So I was in a lot of pain from December to the day I gave birth. I had got these massive stretch marks on my thighs, and they were like starting to go up to like my hip area, and they looked like blood clots. And I'm like, what is this? But I guess that's how a stretch mark starts out. But it was terrible. I was like in so much pain. But from before, all the months before, it was an easy pregnancy for me. It was like, okay, boom, bam. Like, you know, I'm not stressing, you know, I'm not, you know, being back and forth to the hospital, you know. So I had a really simple, easy pregnancy. Just towards the end, my rib was hurting terribly. But yeah, so I went to see my doctor that last time, and he goes, if I didn't give birth on the 13th, we need to induce me to the 19th. The days are going by. On the 14th, I started feeling contractions. I'm calling in. The doctor's like, well, they're not good enough for you to come in at this point. Sorry. So I'm at home like, dang, like I'm really feeling something. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, Aaron is in Mount Pleasant. I don't know which day, you know, it's going to happen. And so I call him and tell him like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but you need to hurry up and get home because I think I'm going to go into labor soon. So Aaron ended up coming home. I think it was the 15th or the 16th, one of those days. So we spent those last couple of days with my parents. When you get induced, they give you a certain time and they give you a location. So we went around 4 a.m. to the hospital, and My mom and them took so many pictures of us before. I was just so anxious. I didn't get any sleep. And then, you know, once you get to the hospital, to get induced, you have to, you're basically getting your water broke. So it's not happening on your own. So I didn't get to experience my water breaking on its own, which I wish I could have, but I didn't. And so when you get induced, the doctors basically break your water for you. So we're driving there, and it was like snowy around this time, you know, because it's January, so we had to get on the highway, and I'm like, oh my gosh, be careful, blah blah. And so we get to the hospital. First of all, we couldn't find any parking. They told us to go to a parking ramp, but it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so like, Aaron's half asleep, I'm half asleep, we're both anxious at this time, just nerves are going everywhere. We're about to be first time parents, like, we don't even know what to expect, so we don't even know which ramp to go. We don't go to the hospital very often, so when there's instructions being told where to park at a hospital, you could just leave us both out, because I don't know. Even still today, if I have to go to a hospital to visit somebody, I don't like going in the parking ramp at all. So that was that. And so we finally get to the parking ramp. It was even more intense. So like, we had like suitcases. Well, he had a suitcase, I had my suitcase, we had Asen's bag. So like, we ready, okay? We came prepared, okay? I knew Asen had a photo shoot in next 2 days, so we came prepared. We were so excited. So I was even more excited because my doctor and I had a relationship like this, and he also was my doctor. So I just was so excited to have him. He was like awesome. So we get into our room. Our room was so huge. It was so nice. As soon as we got situated, got into our bed, they got the IVs in me at this point and everything. So I'm feeling pretty excited. You know, I'm just anxious at this point. I don't know what to expect. I don't know when my water is gonna break. The nurse told me that the doctor would be in a few minutes. Few hours, and that I should just relax, get some sleep until we can start like getting me induced. So it was probably around 8 a.m. I called my mom, my stepdad, my sister, my brother, my grandma, and Aaron's family. They stayed in Florida. Well, his mom did, so otherwise we would have called her as well. But we had all of them come up to the hospital. So they stayed in there in the labor room with us until like it was time for me to give birth. So like, I wanted them all in there for like just the support. It's really excited to have all of them in there, you know, to experience that with me. And Asen is the first grandchild and great grandchild in my family, so it was pretty exciting. The doctor ended up coming in and tells me, okay, everything seems to be going great. I can't wait until it's your time. You know, he just coming and checking in. I'm not feeling anything. My water still isn't broke. So it was probably around 11 or noon when they came in and broke my water. So when they broke my water, you could feel a little snip. That's all you feel is like, it's like a little tick snip feeling. And from that point, I still wasn't in pain all the way up until like 4 p.m. I wasn't in any pain. So 4 p.m. comes and I'm starting to feel a lot of pain. I'm getting frustrated. Mom stopped talking. Dad stopped watching. Aaron, get away from me. You know, at this point, I'm like getting so frustrated because mentally I wanted to do it complete natural. I didn't want no epidural. That's what I came in. That was how my mindset was when I came in. You know, so I didn't want to go through with any of that. And so I was getting on the ball, I was rocking back and forth, and I'm just like, you know, the pain is still so harsh, it's still there, nothing is giving in. So around 6 o'clock, they come in and say, you're dilated at this point, pretty high. I think I wasn't dilated enough to start pushing, so around 7, hold on, let me make sure. Yep, around 7 o'clock, is when it was time, because at this point I was feeling at my worst. at the last second, she kept saying, no, we're getting ready to push now. You don't need this, blah, blah. And I'm like, I have to. I just can't. I can't. And she's like, you know, well, you're getting ready to push right now. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what else to do. She gave me, so instead of that, she ended up giving me some medicine through my IV to try to like reduce the pain that I was feeling. That I didn't feel anything. So I ended up just getting that through my IV or whatever, but you know, I still felt the pain because I waited to the last minute because that was, you know, initially what I wanted to do in the first place. So I was like, okay, I got this. Let's just like rock it through. Let's get this done. Let's do this, okay? So I was more focused on my mind than focused on the pain, to be quite honest. Like, if like even afterwards, I didn't remember. Like, when you're pushing, you're so into the moment. When you're like in that bed, you don't even know what's going on. You can't even focus on just the intense pain that's going on. Like, all you see is surrounding. So at this point, you know, once it came to delivery time, all I wanted was Aaron and I in the room. So my mom, she was flipped out because she's like, what? I'm your mom. Like, you're my daughter and my first grandbaby. I need to be in this room. And I'm like, no, you need to get out because this is Aaron's first child. This is my first child. We need to experience this. I love you dearly, but you got to go. So she was pissed about that. She like literally was making a little tiny scene up in that hospital. You know, I kept telling Aaron, when I get out of this bed, I'm gonna have a talk with her because I can't believe she's shot. I was like embarrassed, but the doctor kept telling me, your mom said she's gonna sit at the door and wait. Because, I mean, obviously, she, you know, my mom was just worried. She was concerned. She just wanted everything to go smoothly for me. She didn't want, like, any complications, you know, and of course, the bad news. So my doctor comes in and says, I'm so sorry. I have to give emergency C-section to somebody. And so I will not be able to deliver your baby, but this person, so-and-so, will be able to. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I was mainly at ease because I knew that you were the one delivering, you know, my child. He said, I'm so sorry. So, I mean, I had to still go on with the day and be able to, I had to give birth. So, like, regardless, it was going to have to be okay, whether I was mad or not. So I ended up saying okay to that, whatever. So, you know, the doctor doesn't come in for me yet, but the nurse is there. So the nurses, like, you know, are getting ready. We're getting in position and everything. She was like, okay, I want you to give me a good big push to see where his head is, see if I could feel him, blah, blah, because at this point she could see him. So I gave one good push, and I remember saying, like, okay, like, that's it, like, okay. And she was like, no, we got to keep giving one more, because I didn't know if, like, the head was out there or not. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna intensely feel it, because remember, I put the medicine through my IV, so I don't know what's going on. She's like, oh, we got to push one more time. So she's like, we're gonna push 4 more times, you know, until I need to see something. So that 4th time I pushed out, Aaron goes, oh my gosh, babe, I can see the head a little bit. So then she's like, okay, good, this is great. We're gonna go get the doctor. So they went and got the doctor. So I started pushing for a couple more times. At this point, it's about 8 o'clock, I'm pushing, 9 o'clock, I'm pushing, 10 o'clock, I'm pushing. So 10 o'clock, they were starting to get concerned, like, we might have to do an emergency C-section because you keep pushing, but it keeps getting sucked back in. So she was like, we're going to try a few different methods real quick before we do proceed with a emergency C-section, because I'm getting concerned. And so, but she's telling me, you know, don't worry about it. Everything is fine. Aaron's down there like, oh my gosh, babe, I can see his hair a little bit. Like, you got this. And I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. You know, like, I'm like, it's starting to hurt, you know, because I'm like, you know, okay, so your vagina hole, I'm pushing, it's going in. I'm pushing, it's going in. So it's like I'm stretching and, you know, back and forth. So it's like I was ripping all those times because I just kept on going, sucking him back in, you know, like, can prepare you for that. Like, literally, it's a physical thing. So after it was around 10:15ish, she was like, okay, we're gonna have to do tug of war because if we don't do tug of war, this baby is not gonna come out. I was pushing, she was pulling, and we were just going back and forth because like she thought maybe the rocking will soothe him out also. But remind you, the whole time I'm pushing him out, I'm also coning Asen's head, okay? I'm coning his head as I'm pushing him out. She's like, this still not working, it's still not working. So all I can remember feeling, the only pain I remember feeling is her 2 fingers under Asen's head, trying to like hold it down and trying to push his head out. So I can remember her holding that part down, and I just remembered that was like tearing me up, literally. So she just kept on saying, okay. At this point, once she's scraping me down there and his head is coming up, it's like 11, it's probably like 11:05, and she's like, give it all you got. And I was like, okay. So boom, I gave it all I got, and Asen came out. Oh my gosh, like he wasn't crying or anything yet, so they had to like keep tapping him a little bit, and and they had to keep tapping him until he started crying. He started eventually crying. She put him on my chest, and they got straight to stitching me up because I did rip to like 2nd degree. So I did rip pretty far. So I had to have like stitches, but she put Asen straight on my chest, and I'm tapping him because like he's crying a little bit, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, my baby's on me. But she's stitching me up too, and I can feel it because there was like no numbness down there. There was nothing that like I had to numb me down there. I'm like starting to hold Asen, and I'm like holding his butt like this because like as she's stitching me, I'm like, so I told Aaron, like, you're gonna have to get the baby because this hurts. So Asen was doing pretty good. He was healthy. And the doctors came in. Now I let my mom, my family in. Here comes my mom barging in, and she was so happy to see her grandson. Aaron's dad was on his way up to the hospital. It was the sweetest moment. It was so sweet. Asen weighed 7 pounds and 3 ounces, and he was born at 11:06 p.m. So it wasn't a bad labor, but like I said, it was crazy. It was just a crazy experience.
Yeah, I'm just trying to lay down.
Okay, Aaron. Dang, you just messed it up. Oh my gosh, Asen, be quiet.
Wow. Yeah, blooper.
Wow, yeah, for real. Asen, oh, back in the bed.
Why? What are you doing? YouTube video?
Yeah. Anyways, see you guys in my next video. Bye.